Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds his girlfriend in a restaurant kissing one of his friends who thought she was single because she told him so. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. So I was just reminded of this because I recently ran into her at a party. My 19 male ex-girlfriend 20 of 6 months tried to cheat on me when we were dating. I found out when I went to her job to surprise her. Everyone there knew we were dating, and I would pick her up from work, sometimes on my motorcycle. When I got there, I asked if she was almost done with her shift. Her manager said she already left. I thought she was sick or something and went to her place to check on her. When I got there, her roommate said she just left. I figured I must have got her hours wrong, but when I called her, she didn't pick up. So I just refilled at the gas station and went home. When I got back, I was scrolling on IG and I saw her on one of my friend's stories. They were at one of those restaurants where they cook the food in front of you. I thought I was going crazy because she never told me about this, and I don't think I did anything for her to get mad and ignore me. I'm not gonna lie, I went a little crazy and went to the restaurant on his story to see if they were still there. I didn't exactly have a plan, but I walked in and told the hostess I had to meet up with a friend and I wouldn't be long. She let me through and I paced around the restaurant a bit. I was about to leave when I reached the last corner and I saw their table. I see him putting his arm around her and her giving him a kiss on the cheek. I walked up and I said, "Joe, what the F?" Joe isn't his real name, by the way. I've known him for a while since we were in the same graduating class in high school. He looks back at me confused. And Joe didn't seem like the guy to do something like this. He was a pretty chill dude from what I could tell. So I say it louder. "What the hell are you doing with my girlfriend?" Let's call her Amy. Amy is stunned. She's asking me what I'm doing here and that I'm embarrassing her. Joe pulls away from her and looks at me saying she told him that she was single. That's news to me because she was sleeping with me last night. We had breakfast together earlier that morning. Now one of the waiters comes over and asks me if there's a problem. I say hell yeah, there's a problem. My cheating girlfriend here is trying to F one of my friends. Joe comes over to me and apologizes. I kinda ignored him as he walked by and left the restaurant. I'm not proud of that because I do think the guy had no clue. He didn't really have any reason to lie to me, but here we are, me and Amy. The whole restaurant looked at us. I'm pissed off because we were only together for 6 months. She could have just broken up with me. So she's calling me a psycho for finding her, and I'm calling her a cheating hoe. She actually got in my face and tried to push me. The waiters there got between us. They ended up kicking her out of the restaurant, and I left shortly after. When I got outside, she was screaming saying she hated me and never wanted to see me again. Now, the funny part was when she pushed me, I ended up grabbing a table to steady myself when the waiters got between us. And I ended up picking up one of their to-go boxes. So when I got to my car, I realized I had Joe's food in my hands. And well, if he was gonna eat my leftovers, it's only fair, right? I ran into her at a party last night and it was pretty funny. I was hanging out with some friends and she tried talking to one of them. So I pulled him aside and told him about what happened. He said, "No way, you dated Hibachi girl." And I'm like, what? He tells me on campus guys call her Hibachi because of that shit. Later that night, she tried to hook up with me. But it's crazy how the tune changes when you become the cheating Hibachi girl. I'm glad you found out about who your ex-girlfriend is early on. 6 months isn't too long. You can just cut your losses and leave, which is something your ex-girlfriend should have done. It's absolutely fine to hook up with different people when you're single and free of commitment. But when you do that in a relationship, then you're just a cheater. If your ex-girlfriend wanted to have fun with other people, then she should have ended things with you. I hope she has learned her lessons, but judging from how she wanted to go home with you at the party even after everything, I doubt it. Story 2. I work in an office for a printing company, and I recently had one of the weirdest experiences of my whole life. So I had just joined this company who shall not be named after the previous company I worked for went belly up. We got bought out, and I was one of the lucky few who got moved into the new place. My new boss was a younger man, but a bit older than me, and everyone seemed to like him. He was relatively nice to me and didn't really check up on anything I did, so it was a nice arrangement. I liked my coworkers, and I didn't have any problems. That is, until I met another coworker of mine. Let's call her Karen. And in case you're wondering, the name fits. At first, Karen was really nice to me. We would chat in the mornings about our lives or whatever. Eventually, we started seeing each other out of work. First with other coworkers, then by ourselves. I asked her if she'd like to start dating, and she said yes. We dated for about 2 or 3 months before everything came tumbling down. When it ran around the office that I was dating Karen, something in the whole atmosphere changed. People looked at me differently, started avoiding me, and I even started getting a lot of heat from my boss about things that were simple fixes or not even problems a week before. I couldn't understand what was happening to me. Well, I found out. One of my coworkers finally told me what was going on. It turns out that Karen and my boss were having sex and had been since before I even joined the company. Everyone thought they were just in a relationship, and so when I came along, it's like I was throwing a wrench in what they had going on. I confronted Karen about it, and you would have thought I accused her of murder. We got into this big argument about me not believing in her. Oh, how I could take rumors over her word, that sort of thing. I was about to believe her until she said something to the effect of, "Everyone's saying I'm dating Eric, but I'm not." Eric is not my name or my boss's name. In fact, it wasn't any of my coworkers either, so it was entirely someone new. I let it go at the time, but I kept it in my mind and started doing a little digging. I searched Karen's name. Not too much. She had social media but didn't post too much. I then reverse image searched her picture on LinkedIn and found her but under a different name. Let's call that one Karen. That's weird, I thought, so I looked at Karen's social media. Karen was in a relationship with an Eric. Let's say his last name is Doe. What an interesting coincidence. So the next time I see Karen at the office, I ask her if she knows an Eric Doe. Her eyes go wide and she tries to stutter out some angry words about respecting her privacy, and I just cut her off and end things with her right there. It's always a good idea to do your homework. Update. So some much more exciting news came out of this story. The confrontation I had with her got to my boss from Gossip Talk. My boss got me into his office and started to lecture about office romance. I simply explained to him what I learned, that she had a secret identity and was dating someone else on the side. He asks me about the secret identity thing, and I show off what I found. Well, my boss did some digging too, and he found a lot more than I did. The cops show up and handcuff Karen. It turns out that she had a number of secret identities and was wanted for some fraud operations she was involved in. It's probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me at work, watching her get walked off to a squad car. I'm glad Karen is out of your life, OP. She sounds like trouble. Not only did she cheat on you, but she also wasn't honest about her relationship with your boss, which got you into trouble at work. She didn't even apologize for that. Instead, she chose to play the guilt-tripping game. Your boss definitely could do without her in his life, too. I hope she never comes back into your life, and even if she did, don't let her back in and cut her off. Story 3. My soon-to-be ex-36 female and I-30 male have been married since 2018. She was a homemaker watching our son 6 male. She has 2 kids from a different father who are also in the house, 10 female and 14 male. During this time, I paid 100% of the bills as well as providing health insurance for all of the family. She became fond of Twitch to pass the time while I was at work and started to become more known in certain communities. She started to stream at one point, and I was supportive of this decision as some little extra cash for herself. Then the downfall started happening. In early fall 2021, we had to put our dog down, who unfortunately had kidney failure at 2. After that point, things seemed to get weird, as she started to sleep on the couch more and more often. I thought it was because I was still on later playing with my friends online. I used to sleep on the couch often prior while she stayed up with her friends online. She approached me a couple months later and had mentioned that she wanted to go to California to see a group of friends, and wondered if I could pay for the ticket. I knew she hadn't been on vacation in a while, so I paid for the ticket so she could have fun with her friends for a week. When the time came, she went to California, and I was taking care of the kids while she was gone. As the week went on, she didn't text often and only called to say goodnight to the kids, barely saying anything to me. Later in the week, I was charging my phone, so I went online to send a text message to one of my friends. Our phone provider allows us to text online, so I went into the messaging but realized I logged in as her instead of myself by accident. Her account is used for paying the bill. I noticed a number that was unfamiliar and saw a last message along the lines of, "Okay, Daddy." Lo and behold, clicking into that message thread confirmed my suspicions. Messages of private parts and the whole 9 yards. I was beyond irate and was not able to process it properly, texting her telling her to come home now and find a flight early. She told me, "You need to respect my decision. I'm staying here and coming home Monday." When she returned, we had a discussion and she claimed she did nothing sexual, but I don't believe that. She said we would try to fix things and I agreed. However, a few weeks ago, she still sleeps on the couch, and I'm just not seeing that anything is getting fixed. I made a stupid mistake by getting so mad because I wanted to fix this, that I went into her Discord and she was still messaging the guy she saw in California with disgusting results. At this point, divorce was the only option. We started filling out the paperwork to do everything ourselves since we're not in a financial situation to get additional help. I initially agreed as we're filling it out to have my son 2 days a week, and we would sleep in separate rooms and separate ourselves in the house. I agreed to pay the bills until she got a job, which I informed her she had a month to find. She found a job and is paying 30% of the bills as I make more money. With all of this, I wanted to finalize the divorce papers, but after thinking over the 2 months, I deserve to have my son for 50% of the time. She absolutely refuses, and I informed her we will need to get lawyers. She was under the impression she would get a free lawyer for divorce court, and I told her that's not the case. We're still in this intermediate situation as it stands. She talks to her boyfriend every night, and our computers reside in the same room. We are in a small 4-bedroom mobile home, so space is not great. She sleeps on the couch, and I sleep on the bed. I'm sick of it and I want to leave. However, I do not want to put my son in danger of having difficulty with life. She is a rock star mom, so there are no questions about taking care of the kids. I make substantially more than she does, which is why she's only paying 30% of the bills. She cannot take the front of 100% of the bills. Other factors are that I own the house, I own both cars, I pay insurance on both cars and the house, and I pay health insurance for her kids as well as the rest of the household. She has no assets that belong to her, and her credit situation is not going to allow her to take over the loan for the house. What should I do in this situation so that my son is not impacted? I realize that if we cannot come to an agreement on custody of him, that court will be necessary to take care of that, which I really do want to avoid. I don't have any family in the state I reside as I'm not from here originally. OP, aside from the fact that she cheated on you, you make claims to all the property. Regardless of who paid, anything obtained during the marriage is community property regardless of how it's titled. Now, if you're in an at-fault state, then the infidelity, and I hope you saved those messages, plays a role in specific decisions of your divorce, i.e. division of assets and alimony. If you're in a no-fault state, then it doesn't matter if she was out there banging anyone. Regardless of what state you're in, the shit sucks. Good luck, and treat her the way she deserves. Don't give her a dime more than is required.